Hello everyone, Danny here today to talk to you about the book The Complete Guide to Fasting by Jimmy Moore and Dr. Jason Fung. Now I got this book specifically because I just finished listening to The Obesity Code, which is written by Dr. Jason Fung, and I love The Obesity Code. I learned so much, and the way he presented the information in that book made so much sense. He managed to take complicated ideas and break them down and make them simple and easy to understand. But I wanted to delve a little deeper into fasting, so I got this book. Now, I did learn some things from this book, so I don't want to make it sound like, hey, I did not learn anything from this book. And if I had not just listened to the Obesity Code, I would have learned a ton from this book. But my goal was learning about fasting for weight loss. The Obesity Code, a lot of that seems to be taken directly from this book. Almost, I will cut this section out, glue and paste over here and put it in there. The examples are the exact same examples in the two books. I'll give you my own example here of what I'm talking about. So, a common myth, and one that prior to this book I was a big believer in, is that when you reduce your calories, if you fast, if you go on a diet, you've got to be very careful because your body will burn muscle while burning fat, and you'll lose all that muscle that you've built. Now, in the Obesity Code and in the Complete Guide to Fasting, they go in and they explain from a scientific standpoint why that's a complete fallacy. But then they break it down into common sense terms, and they give an example of why that doesn't make sense. And while the example is an amazing example, it's the exact same example in both books. The example they give is of you saving firewood for the wintertime. And then when wintertime comes along and you need to burn something for fuel, you're not going to take, I'm going to put half firewood and half furniture into the fireplace. You're going to use up all the firewood. You're not going to touch the furniture until the firewood's gone and you're freezing. And our body's that way with our muscle. It saves up the fat to use for when times are lean. The muscle helps it survive. The muscle actually contributes to the body's ability to move, to find food, to feed itself. If it eats the muscle, then it's got nothing left to go hunt and gather and feed itself. So it's not going to touch the muscle until the fat's all gone. Makes a lot of sense. Great example, but it's the exact same example in both books. And there's several parts in the books to where I'm listening to the Complete Guide to Fasting and I'm going, well, that sounds like exactly, I don't mean that sounds like the same information. That sounds like exactly the same portion from the book, The Obesity Code. And if you look, they were both released on Audible at basically the same time. I did not go back to look to see when the books were actually published, but I've got a feeling that one came before the other one, and they did that. They just completely borrowed from one to use the other. Now, if you're interested in fasting for reasons other than weight loss, then you'd get a lot out of this book, because this book goes into a lot of other subjects other than just fasting for weight loss. The effect of fasting on cancer, the effect of fasting on preventing cancer, on preventing Alzheimer's, on diabetes, all kinds of different subjects that fasting is directly related to that were not covered in the Obesity Code. So there's a lot of information in this book that is not in the book, The Obesity Code. And there were some things that I learned from this book that will help me with my goals and were not in the Obesity Code. The biggest problem I had with this book, Jason Moore narrates it. He should have paid for a professional narrator. He really needed to pay for a professional narrator. He does not do a good job of narrating. He's not terrible, but you can always tell he's reading. He always sounds like he's reading a lecture book. And there are sections in the book where he sounds like he is purposely over pronunciating every single word. And it is as equally annoying in the book when he does that as it is for you as I do it now. So, don't like the narrator. But definitely pick a different narrator for the book. But if it's a subject that you're interested in, they do go into a lot of detail on fasting. Same as with the obesity code, they debunk a lot of myths about fasting and the effects of fasting on the body. They go into a lot of the history of fasting. So if you haven't listened to the obesity code and you're just I'm more interested in fasting for fasting's sake, then go ahead and get this book. But if you're like me and what you're interested in is weight loss, I'd go with the obesity code and leave that one on the shelf. So any questions, comments, or feedback, please send it in my direction. If you like my video, hit the like button. If you like my channel, subscribe and turn on notifications. And make sure, most important thing I'd like you to do today, make sure that today you listen to at least one really good book. Thank you.